In this video, I'm going to share how I lost weight, especially belly fat, including what I ate, what exercises I did, and the very important lessons I learned, such as why some of my past attempts failed and why it worked this time. If I did it, anyone can do it because all my life, I've been someone who preferred sitting over standing or exercising, and my number one favorite food was, and still is, spaghetti. However, what made the difference this time was what I call the joy distribution technique. That's how I was able to achieve this transformation and maintain it without worrying about any yo-yo effect. So, sit back and enjoy the story of my belly fat loss journey. That was me 1 year ago. I weighed 64 kilograms and was the type of person who gained body fat mostly in less visible areas, mainly my belly. The good part? My face didn't show weight gain as much. I could hide it, but the downside? Well, it was easier to hide, which made it harder for me to stay motivated to take action. I was relatively thin before having my first child, and I assumed my belly would simply return to its previous state after pregnancy. But things didn't turn out the way I expected. I ate so much spaghetti while I was pregnant because I thought I was supposed to eat just a lot for the baby. How little did I know back then? I had attempted to lose weight a couple of times before, but they didn't really work in the long run because the weight bounced back after some intense efforts. I had somehow convinced myself that I was fine with it, but looking back, I realized that the whole burden of trying to lose weight, particularly my insecurity about my belly, had a significant impact on my mental well-being, even in ways I didn't fully recognize at the time. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that if you want to make this change possible, you must find a routine that you enjoy. One that doesn't make you feel emotionally pressured or like you're holding back too much. That way, you can stay consistent, whether it's with exercise or meal planning. With that being said, here are 4 tips that made this transformation possible and helped me maintain a routine I genuinely enjoy following. If you take these 4 tips and apply them, I'm certain you'll see lasting changes in your weight loss journey as well. First tip, joy distribution is crucial to avoid yo-yo effect. I've learned that the reason I experienced the yo-yo effect in the past was that I treated myself like a robot, disregarding my emotional well-being. If a change in routine involves cutting off the foods you enjoy or doing something that feels uncomfortable, and if that change is too abrupt, it's likely to backfire sooner or later. It's like pulling a bowstring as far as possible quickly. There's no way to maintain that tension forever. So what I did was to come up with a way to distribute my joy optimally, allowing myself to enjoy the changes while not pushing myself too hard. This helped me avoid bouncing back into old habits. For example, as I mentioned, spaghetti is my favorite food. Before, whenever I had it, my idea of joy was eating until I felt completely full. But instead of cutting spaghetti out of my life entirely, I decided to shift my focus to simply enjoying the taste, rather than eating for the sake of feeling full. Now, I eat only about 60% of what I used to, because I've learned that if I eat until I'm completely full, I don't actually feel joy afterward. Instead, I end up with guilt and frustration. These days, my joy comes from savoring my favorite food and stopping before it becomes too much. I know stopping might sound a little harsh, but you'd be surprised. This small act of self-control actually brings a different kind of joy with it. Another example is, I used to have 2 slices of bread in the morning, but I cut back to 1, reducing my calorie intake. However, I added hummus as a dipping sauce for my veggies. I enjoy hummus too, and it offers more nutrients as a source of healthy fats and plant-based protein rather than just more calories. With that in mind, here's what my usual daily meal plan looks like. Breakfast is around 9 a.m., simple, but I try to include the basic nutrients. My favorite meal of the day is lunch, which I have around 3 to 3:30 p.m. I love eating delicious food, so for this meal, I try to choose something I enjoy. But as I mentioned earlier, I keep it to about 60% of the portion I used to eat. Sometimes it's red sauce spaghetti, vongole, Korean style dumplings, kimchi fried rice, Subway sandwich, or steak. In the evening, around 6:30 p.m., I have a healthy homemade smoothie packed with a variety of colorful ingredients for dinner. Speaking of replacements, I now eat a less heavy dinner and enjoy a more satisfying breakfast and lunch. Not saying I don't enjoy the homemade smoothie, it definitely grew on me now. I also reduced my carb intake and increased my protein consumption. As for the joy distribution, I realized that I like something milky. So instead of cutting out dairy completely, I make tea lattes with frothed milk and a bit of honey. It makes me happy and helps me settle into deep work sessions. I no longer crave coffee shop frappuccinos like I used to. Now, they're just an occasional treat. I also don't crave sugar the way I used to. When it comes to dessert, I don't always need something sweet, but sometimes I just want to chew on something. I used to have ice cream every other day, but since I started this routine, I've replaced it with nuts and seeds. So, here's a practical solution. To distribute your joy in a way that supports this journey, start by writing down what you can replace with what you can reduce, and what you can enjoy instead. You need to find things you like that are still healthy and contribute to your goals. You have to make healthy dishes taste good, or at least as good as you can, while giving yourself time to adjust. I don't recommend eating eggs without a drop of oil or forcing yourself to eat only veggies, unless you genuinely enjoy it. About 2 months ago, I started resistance training to gain muscle. It took me about 30 days to notice a difference. For example, I began to see more toned, defined lines rather than just overall weight loss. I also felt stronger, which made exercising more enjoyable. The reason I started incorporating resistance training or strength training are 1. Even though I had lost some weight from mainly doing cardio, running in my case, I still felt soft and a bit flabby, especially in my belly, and even weak overall because I was also losing muscle, which I didn't have much in the first place, along with body fat. 2. I came across a health video that explained strength training is a must if you're in your 30s or 40s. It's like saving money in your savings account for later in life. If you don't build muscle now, it can lead to a decline in strength and mobility, which may impact your daily life as you age. Strength training helps counteract this decline, making activities like lifting groceries, getting up from a chair, or performing other daily tasks much easier, which has a significant impact on both physical health and overall well-being. That's when I felt compelled to add strength training along with my daily running. Another benefit of doing strength training is that it increases your resting metabolic rate, RMR, which means your body burns calories more efficiently even at rest. With that said, I started with just one exercise movement, dumbbell squat to overhead press. I tried following along with resistant workout videos before, but I struggled to stay consistent. If that works for you, then stick with it. But for me, I guess I didn't have enough muscle strength to keep up with those workouts at the time. After a couple of weeks, it started to feel like it was too much, and I lost the motivation to keep going. It just wasn't fun for me. Plus, the extra initial steps required to watch the video created too much friction. So I changed my strategy. I focused on thoroughly learning one movement, which is the dumbbell squat to overhead press, and did as many reps as I could for 4 sets. I felt it was more approachable because it was just one move. But as I got stronger and the movement became easier, I gradually added more exercises one by one. Now, these are the exercises I do. I mix and match them daily, and I typically work out for about 20 minutes a day. Dumbbell squat to overhead press, plank, plank hip twist, single arm dumbbell row, dumbbell drag or cross, Russian twist with dumbbell, dead hang with knee raise at first. This was my birthday gift from my husband. I told him I wanted to learn how to do a pull-up, and he bought me this. I'm not sure if it's even possible, but I'll keep trying. Abdominal bracing with exhale. When it comes to weight loss, 2 common mistakes often lead to failure. They usually fall into one of these 2 extreme scenarios. Number 1, avoiding any change in routine while expecting results. I don't want to change what I eat or how much I eat. I want to enjoy all the desserts I want, and I don't want to exercise at all. But is there a quick and easy way to lose weight or belly fat? This approach simply isn't sustainable, especially if you want to lose weight in a healthy, long-lasting way. To see change, something has to change. The key is finding a way to make that change approachable and realistic. Number 2, going all in too quickly. I'm going to change everything immediately as quickly as possible. I'll only eat vegetables for one meal and go to the gym every day for hours. This approach usually doesn't work because if anything goes wrong with your plan and life gets stressful, you tend to go back to old habits. The frustration of messing up often leads to binge eating and skipping the gym altogether. So, the solution is to introduce tiny changes at first and see if you can naturally integrate them into your daily life without too much emotional resistance. For me, at first, I started by going for a short run every morning. Because in my mind, I thought, what better way is there than simply heading outside for a short run? No equipment, no membership required. I started running in the mornings last April, which means it has almost been a year. During this time, I lost some weight going from this to this. Some people might think running is so boring, I could never do it. If you're one of them, you might want to try yoga in the morning, dancing to music, or hiking with friends. Anything that you can start easily today. Even just walking around the house while listening to music. I think the main reason I was able to stay consistent was that on the days I ran, I instantly felt so much better, more focused on my deep work, and more productive throughout the day. So I kept doing it even on days when I felt a bit too lazy to go outside in the morning. The benefits of running were noticeable both instantly and gradually. 1, it improved my mood and mental clarity, helping me focus better. 2, it enhanced my sleep quality at night. 3, and of course, it provided numerous health benefits such as noticeable boost to my immune system. I run only 5 to 10 minutes a day, and also on weekends, I go to the track near my home with my family. There, I run about 5 laps while my husband and kids play soccer. With just that, I noticed a decent amount of body fat loss thanks to what's called a calorie deficit, which basically means you burn more calorie than you consume. If you think about it, it's simple math as you just need to move more than the calories you consume. So you need to find the easiest form of movement or exercise that fits your lifestyle and preferences and stick with it consistently. The goal is to follow this equation in order to achieve a calorie deficit, not a calorie surplus. 4th tip, motivation is needed, but routine is king. There was one incident that really motivated me to start tackling my belly fat. One day, we ran into our friends at the park, and with them was a friend of theirs, someone we were meeting for the first time. We exchanged greetings, and out of the blue, she asked me, "So, how many months?" After a brief, awkward pause, everyone was silent as I tried to process what she meant. My husband gently replied, "Oh, that's just clothes." She quickly apologized and said, "Sorry, I didn't know." I smiled and said, "Oh, it's okay." She was just trying to make conversations, and I could tell she didn't mean anything by it. But wow, that moment caught me completely off guard. I went on a strict diet right after that. But of course, I bounced back. The yo-yo effect returned. I'm sure some of you watching can relate. The cycle of trying, then falling off track. This repeats until you find a routine that truly worked for you, one that feels approachable and easy enough to stick to, starting with small changes to your daily habits and slowly building from there. So here's my tip. When you're writing down your meal plan based on joy distribution, try planning out your day or your ideal week by scheduling in some activities that burn calories and strength exercises that you can realistically incorporate, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes a day. And most importantly, write those plans down. You're far more likely to stick with them if you write them down and they're visible. Keep the plan on your desk or tape it to your fridge where you'll see it every day. Okay, so in this video, I focus on explaining what I eat and how I exercise, along with some practical tips that help me make this change. But there are other important aspects when it comes to losing weight, like getting good quality sleep, drinking enough water, and of course, doing your best to manage your stress. That means everything you do to stay healthy is closely connected to losing body fat. Scientific research shows that people who try to lose weight for health related reasons are more likely to succeed in the long term than those who are motivated primarily by appearance. It might seem like a subtle mindset shift, but it makes a big difference from how you plan your meals to how you approach exercise. So, try to see it as something you're doing for your long term health and to enjoy quality time with your family and friends, not just to look thin. That mindset shift has helped me a lot in staying consistent and actually enjoying the journey. If you have a question or if you would like to share your own story, whether it's a success or a struggle from your past attempts, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.